All right, subscribe up and check this out. This is where we used to live, about 1,000 feet higher elevation from where we're at now. And about maybe 2 miles away. Pretty cool place. It was on 11 acres of rainforest, and it had all this volunteer wild coffee growing. So it was really neat. I don't know if they actually planted it or if just someone had thrown coffee cherry out there and it grew up. But yeah, you could go out and adventure around. It was, there's a lot of mosquitoes and things. You had to kind of gear up if you wanted to go into the thick of it. But yeah, look at all the coffee you could find out there. Probably not enough to commercially pick. It wouldn't have been good enough for that. But yeah, pretty damn cool. Yeah, there would be quite a bit of coffee out there. And there's always some little adventure, and check out those. You see Jackson chameleons out there quite a bit. We would sometimes find them crossing the streets. We'd bring them home and let them loose up there. But yeah, this one's a little irritated. See how it's turning black? It's going, why are you bugging me? I'm out here eating bugs and stuff. But yeah, they're pretty cool. They move pretty slow, but then they're kind of fast too. They know how to get away, but yeah, they're always pretty darn neat. And other adventures. The weather could be rough up there, and since we had that long drive, the kind of our own road that came up, trees would fall down. We had several fall down, and luckily we had one car and one truck on either side, so we didn't get stuck in there. And then one morning we woke up and there was this goat knocking on the back door. And, we had a lot of wild pigs and goats around, but this one, I think, was someone's pet, or it had lived in their house, because it was perfectly happy to come up to the door and knock. And I went around to see what was going on, and there was this goat. It was pretty darn cool, but we couldn't really keep him. He ended up going to a horse ranch up here where they wanted him, but he was pretty cool. Then he left and went over to the front door, and came up the stairs wanting to come in there, and that's where Dewey liked to hang out a lot too. And Dewey ignored him. Dewey just was not moving and ignoring that goat, going, I'm not giving my house to a goat. But, there's also tons of avocado trees. They are super tall, though. You can see I had to make like a 3-story long picking pole. That was a little haphazard, but we could pick some pretty good avocados. These are called Kona Blacks. They were really good. I mean, we had a lot of avocados there, more than we could even hope to eat. And so you can see the coffee kept going and flowering, and it do its first little pop out, and it would flower some more, and had a nice fragrance when a lot of it flowers, so like Kona snow they call it. So it was pretty darn neat. And then they all form, as we all know, the little green beans, and then they'll eventually turn into the coffee cherry. And look at this, then they you go out there and you can see it all. You can just kind of mosey around. You had to gear up, and you could pick yourself a pretty good amount. It wasn't easy, and I did a pretty good job. I got mostly ripe. I didn't get too many unripe. I was selective like they are here. And then you go ahead and squeeze that baby out, and you have kind of the bean in there, but it's all sticky, so you got to ferment it and soak it for a few days or however long you're going to do it, and really rinse it out. And then you'll have these, and then it's time to dry. So once you have it at this point, it's time to dry them up. Then I take them, I would dry these in the oven, not with the oven on, with the door slightly open and the oven light. It created a nice dry atmosphere, because it took a few days, a couple, I can't even remember, but it took a little bit to get them dry. And then you have to get the little husk off one by one. That's a little chore. I know people use food processors and stuff like that. I did it by hand. I didn't want to really harm up the green bean. But yeah, I got a nice little pan of green beans on this first one. And what I wanted to do with the roasting is kind of go old school. Well, that's all I had too, was the cast iron pan. So I went out, got out the old Coleman. This is my beloved Coleman 1971 model. Still running. I bought it from someone in the South. They have mailed it on eBay. They go, do you really want this? I go, oh yeah, I do. But anyway, that's me. And since it's smoke, I went out and we're kind of heating the pan up. And maybe I should have thrown the green beans in when the pan was hot enough, but I might have put them in a little early. But anyway, live and learn. And I just kept kind of spinning them around and letting them heat up and roast. So one thing I found was the flat bottoms tended to get a sit. So, God, maybe even like a flat bottom wok might be a nice type of thing to do it in. But this worked good. The stove slowly heated up, and you can kind of see all our hot peppers that used to kind of grow out too. There was a big bush that went wild, but those are pretty good, super hot. And then there it goes, it kind of smoked, and there's a few things. I may have wanted a less hot pan, but I don't know. I think I guessed pretty good for just, ad-libbing and doing it. I just seen it done a couple times, and, learning is doing is really a good way to do it. So I just kept going, tossing it around in small batches. Maybe it would have worked better with all of them in. Each time you develop your technique a little bit, keep it simple. But yeah, there it is. Coffee I picked, processed, and now I'm roasting up. So it's pretty fun no matter how much I get or how it is. It's a fun accomplishment and super fun to do. I don't know, doing it this way, you couldn't probably do enough coffee. Well, maybe you could. It'd be a lot of labor to do a standard supply. But there it is. Medium to medium dark beans. I didn't, pretty consistent. Not bad for just, Hodad beginner time, but it worked pretty good. Some of the flat bottoms got a little too dark, I think, but there it is. Now we're just going to go ahead and we'll make up an espresso with these. How's that? So there it is. Those are the beans that we saw the green bean cook, and we dried them out. We took the red cherry off. We dried them out. We husked them. We let them kind of cure up, I guess, and then we roasted them in the cast iron, totally old school outside. And there it is, and we made a nice little coffee with them. They did work pretty good. One of them may have killed my grinder, though. It may have been a little too dark because this is what was the first breaking point on my La Pavoni cube mill. I do have to say to add that in, but overall it was a success, and that may not be the real reason, but anyway, there it is. We made ourselves a couple nice espressos, and in this house we had a big long counter, so I did have 4 machines out, which was maybe excessive. Well, maybe not though too. So there they are, and yeah, it was super fun. So if you ever have red cherry, just go ahead and do it in your fashion, and it's kind of fun to do. Go ahead and process everything up like that. Anyway, till next time, yeah, there it is. Coffee we made ourselves right from the cherry in the tree.